Today, we're diving into something truly revolutionary. It's a new frontier in stroke rehabilitation, where technology isn't just a helpful tool, it's actually the blueprint for rebuilding the human brain from the inside out. So, how on earth does that even work?
Well, I want you to imagine something. Picture a massive earthquake hitting a major city. That's kind of like a stroke hitting the brain. Suddenly, major roads are destroyed, power lines are totally severed, and all communication just grinds to a halt. But what if we had a new kind of construction crew, a digital one, that could go in and help rebuild that city, one neural pathway at a time?
So that's really the core idea we're going to unpack here. After a stroke, the brain's incredibly intricate network, its entire infrastructure is seriously damaged. And we're not just talking about muscle weakness, it's a much deeper problem. It's a fundamental communication breakdown between the brain and the body.
But here's where it gets absolutely incredible. The brain has this built-in, amazing ability to heal itself. It's a concept called neuroplasticity. And what that means is the brain can literally reorganize itself, rerouting all that neurotraffic around the damaged areas and building brand new connections. It's just like a city figuring out detours and building new roads after a disaster.
Okay, so if the brain is already capable of this amazing self-repair, how can we help guide the process? Well, that's exactly where digital architecture comes into play. And look, we're not talking about simple exercises here. We're talking about using cutting-edge technology to provide a very precise blueprint for this neural reconstruction. You know, the evolution of this tech has been unbelievably fast. Think back to the early 2010s. We started seeing the first glimmers of this with things like the Nintendo Wii. It was a really promising start, but it didn't have that clinical precision. Fast forward to the early 2020s, and suddenly we have these clinical-grade VR systems. And that brings us to today, where we've landed on this incredible concept of digital pharmacies, a world where software itself is prescribed just like medicine for the brain.
So, just to make sure we've got it, neuroplasticity is the engine that's driving this entire revolution. It's the brain's fundamental ability to physically change its own structure based on experience. And these digital therapies we're talking about, they're designed to provide exactly the right kind of experience to kickstart that rewiring process.
All right, so if we have the blueprint, who are the workers? Well, meet the digital construction crew, virtual and augmented reality. These are the tools that are doing the heavy lifting. They don't just entertain, they are actively getting to work, rewiring the brain's damaged circuits.
Now, these two tools have very different but totally complementary jobs. VR, on one hand, plunges the patient into a completely new digital world. This is perfect for retraining things like movement and motor control. AR, on the other hand, keeps you in the real world, but it adds this extra layer of digital information to help with things like spatial awareness.
Okay, this is where it gets really, really cool. VR uses this clever illusion called mirror therapy to basically trick the brain into healing itself. Here's how it works. It tracks the patient's healthy arm, but inside the VR headset, it shows them their affected arm moving perfectly. This visual feedback is so convincing, so powerful, that it fools the brain into believing the limb is working fine. And that little trick is what kickstarts the neuroplastic process of building the actual new pathways to make it a reality. It's amazing.
Now let's talk about AR. For some patients, a stroke can cause something called spatial neglect, where they might almost completely ignore one side of their world. AR can create what you might call digital scaffolding to help with this. Imagine a patient trying to pour a cup of coffee. AR can overlay a glowing boundary around the cup, or maybe an arrow pointing to it, gently guiding their attention and helping them complete the task. It's rehabilitation that's literally woven into the fabric of daily life. And all of this leads to a pretty profound shift in thinking. We're moving beyond just physical exercises and into this whole new model where software is actually treated as a form of neural medicine, prescribed by a therapist from what they're calling a digital pharmacy. So what exactly is a digital pharmacy? Well, it's not a place you walk into, it's a system. It means a therapist can prescribe a very specific VR program for motor control and maybe an AR program for spatial awareness, just like a doctor prescribes different pills for different problems. It's completely personalized, targeted treatment that's delivered digitally.
The advantages of this approach are just huge. For one, the therapy is completely personalized and can adapt in real time as the patient improves. It's also way more engaging than doing repetitive exercises, which really boosts motivation. Plus, it allows therapists to monitor progress from afar, making high-quality care so much more accessible. And maybe the most important thing is that it provides that precise sensory feedback that's needed to speed up the neuroplastic rewiring.
I mean, this is all incredible as it is, but what's next? The digital architecture is still under construction, you could say. And the next generation of tools on the horizon, well, they promise to make this whole process even more powerful and even more seamlessly integrated into a patient's life.
We're looking at a future with things like brain-computer interfaces that can directly stimulate the brain to encourage healing. We're talking about AI that's so smart it adjusts the therapy second by second based on performance. The ultimate goal here is this seamless blend of the digital and physical worlds, where rehabilitation isn't a session you go to, it's just a constant, subtle part of your day.
You know, this quote from Franco Arteceros, who's a leading voice in this field, really just captures the whole thing perfectly. It's not just about cool tech, it's about hope. It's about providing a concrete digital map that can help patients navigate the incredibly complex journey of recovery.
And that leaves us with one final, fascinating question. We've been focused on stroke recovery, but what about traumatic brain injuries, or even degenerative diseases? If we can design these digital blueprints to rebuild one part of the brain's architecture, what other neural frontiers could we explore next?